All right. Well, guess what?
We're on.
Now we're officially on.
Fuck yeah, dude. I was just thinking, I'll save this for the pod. When was the last time we did a fucking solo episode? So I'm just going to bring up the fucking...
Decent minute ago.
It's been a hot minute. I reckon we went in hard on some conspiratorialism.
I'd say so.
On the last one, it was...
I'm actually not too sure, to be completely honest.
Goodbye 2022.
Wow.
29th of December.
It's been half a
6
year.
months ago.
And
we haven't really pumped out that many episodes since then. We've been busy boys.
We have been very busy boys.
Fucking busy boys. I think that's why we wanted to just get on here and do a bit of a solo episode, just to refamiliarize yourself, which is I fucked that up, but refamiliarize. There we go. Yourself with just your boys.
I think people got to understand. You've just had your second kid.
Yep.
So once again, congratulations. I've told you a million times, but he's a beautiful little dude.
Yeah,
so,
he's a good man. Don't know where he gets that from.
Might
not be the father.
Yeah, might not be the father, but
you know what?
He's a legend, man.
If you're not going to be the father, you'd want a cute kid. At least, right?
Exactly.
You don't want some mom.
Has he been going all right?
Yeah, man. He's absolute legend, man. Like I think this time around, and I fucking love Winston so much, but just in terms of my own, like where my head was at when you're a first time parent at 24 or whatever it was, and just like you're just kind of wrapped up sometimes in the emotion of it all. You don't really get to like just stop and take stock. Whereas like because of that, this time around, I've been super conscious of just like really enjoying the moments. I've been really just loving actually taking it all in this time around and making sure that it's like, because this is it, I'm done. I'm going.
That's it.
I'm going the snippy long stockings, dude.
Two is what, like, if I ever get blessed with the chance, two is what I would like to.
Yeah, bro. I think that's the sweet spot.
Just a bit seems like
bro. Every person I've seen, and I used to say this about multiple kids in general, but really it is. When I see someone with 3 kids in the shops, I'm just like, the other day, literally, right, I was at the fish and chip shop waiting for my order, and there was a dad with his 3 kids, and they like 2 were in the trolley, 1 was standing next to the trolley, and he was just on his phone, and they were just like looking at me going, just like making noises at me, and I'm just what the fuck? And this dad had no clue. He was just so checked out. I'm like, that's what I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that dude just looking at his phone like thinking, please, some sort of meteor come down from the sky.
like give me some reprieve right now. Yeah,
these 3 kids are just screaming at bystanders and he couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's just not, I never wanted to be that parent, man. And I see it like in the shops all the time. You just see some mum that's just like so burnt out, and she's just got 3 kids fucking pulling her dress and spilling her fucking coffee and asking for all the toys in the shop, and she's just like ready to kill them all. And I'm like, not for me, dude.
I'll fucking hit pass on that.
6-year gap.
Yeah.
One that understands the concept of like, give us 2 seconds. I got to do something for the baby, and then I'm all yours.
Yeah.
Perfect, man. Really enjoying it. So it's been good, man. But look, we've just been super busy. Obviously, you've been flat out with marketing lately, man.
Bro.
It's
just growing and growing. We've had some good opportunities and made some good friends and connections and just doing some good work. So like, bro, it's been super busy in that aspect. I just love getting to be creative, bro. Like I keep saying this to everyone that asks me about how I'm going with it. Just the fact that even this time last year, I was still doing another job. So July last year was when I went full time working for myself. So it's been a year now as of this month.
Wow. Congratulations, bro.
Thanks, bro. And it's like, don't get me wrong, it's hard as fuck. And there's a lot of things that I do miss. I was actually saying to Rookie recently, I was like, I miss the social aspect.
Yeah.
I miss, because like I'll wake up, right? And apart from, clients calling me in, mates still calling me and shit, I don't see anyone other than Lachlan. And even then 2 days a week, he goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just during the week, I miss that where I could walk in, shake Rookie's hand, shake Swati's hand and be like, what's going on? And then everyone was there. Yeah. I miss that the most, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Look, and I'm the same, I guess, as well. Like working from home is just different. When I went and did that Sydney trip, for those who are listening who don't know the story, I got flown over to Sydney for work, but which is the first time I've ever got to do anything like that. But that was the first time in a year and a half of me being in an office setting as well. Yeah. So I had to go out and buy fucking office clothes because I'm just decked out in fucking trackies and jumpers at home. Yeah. But just actually being able to be in that office setting and like have conversations that you can't really have over Zoom because you don't know who's watching or whatever when you do it.
Exactly.
So like just having banter and like fucking around in person. It's just, I missed that a little bit. Especially like I was quite lucky that I had like a couple of blokes that I work with that just like ruthless individuals when I was working at TPG, and we would just take the absolute fucking piss out of each other non-stop. So I miss that.
Yeah.
Getting to spend your day just fucking ripping into each other. So yeah, I feel that, man, where you're just like, and again, when you'll meet with clients, you're not going to be like having banter with the fucking client.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
You
It's
do,
all
but like, you're not,
not like that. It's all above board. It's fucking business, man. It's so yeah. But I think as the business grows and you guys will start being able to be like, hey, let's organize like a networking day or breakfast or whatever it is, and like get more people together and start bringing that social aspect into the job. Then all of a sudden you're getting to do that on a regular basis, and I think that'll make a huge difference.
And another massive difference, the thing that we would like to have in the next couple of years, once we kind of can, is have our own office as well. So once we kind of start getting our own staff, instead of like contracting people or doing everything ourselves, we actually start having to get staff. We will then get an office. Yeah. And then if I want to go get that social interaction, I can.
Yeah.
But if I don't want to, because I'm never going back to working in an office like full time or working somewhere else full time again.
Yeah,
it's just, I like being able to get out of my bed, walk across to my office and do some shit.
It's the best thing in the fucking world.
Yeah.
And I don't, as much as I miss the social aspect, I do not miss the fucking train. I do not miss the travel. I do not miss the time that I lose. Like, I don't miss any of that shit. But it is a reminder of the perks of it sometimes, which was like, and also like even, for my stand up, I used to be in the city.
Yeah.
So like I could just go do a gig and it was like, I'm already there. I get home a bit later, but I'm already there. Whereas like now, when I do a crank of comedy or whatever, I'm like, I got to finish work, drive into the fucking city, do 5 minutes of comedy and drive home. And I'm like,
you're like,
why am I here, dude? Especially like now that comedy's been going well enough that we've been doing the SA Comedy Roadshow, and we're selling out fucking shows.
Have you told the
I don't even know it's been because that's really, I think maybe we had the first show the end of last year. But yeah, obviously,
I don't think we've mentioned it on
the podcast. Yeah. So obviously, I mean, myself, Clay McMath, who's been on the podcast, and then Jay Michael and Bowley have been doing the SA Comedy Roadshow, and I've got a show this Saturday night. Like, could have sold probably like 150, but they had to cap it because of the venue size at 100.
So that's sold out now?
Yeah, bro. It was sold out like 2 weeks ago.
Killer.
And then I went there on Saturday and they're like, we've been getting phone calls all weekend, just like, I'm trying to get tickets for the show.
Really?
I can't get them. And they're like, that's because we've stopped it because we sold out.
Yeah, no shit.
That's going to be a wild show Saturday night.
Fuck, I must have been one of the last ones then because I only bought mine like a week and a half ago.
That's why I'm glad I messaged you two.
Yeah.
And I got Dad and AJ's as well. Like the night after I messaged you guys, I was like, I better get theirs too. And then literally the next night, Carrie messaged me and was like, I can't get them. And then I had to go sort it out. So like we just snuck in.
Shit.
So I went and checked out the venue as well. 100 people in there is going to be fucking bananas.
Yeah,
and I'm hosting as well, which I love hosting.
Yeah,
it's just like,
Oh, so do you rotate that? Because I remember last time the one that I went to would have been Murray Bridge. Might have been the last one.
Now the only two people that have hosted them so far is me and Bowley.
Yeah, I thought it was him.
Because he does the most of them. He is a great host, but I like hosting because I don't know, just like I get to work a bit more on crowd stuff, which I never do. Like it forces me to do that, but also get to break up my set. So if I forget something or whatever in the I've actually got an opportunity to come back and do it. You know, and I also enjoy like opening the night is tough. And then I get to like have the crowd completely warmed up by the acts. Then they come back from a break and they're all super engaged. And I always find that my little mini set after the break before the two final acts of the night is always killer. I don't know why, but that's always when I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. So
going just first enjoy anything. So whether it's comedian or whether I don't think I've ever performed and gone first, but like I can only imagine that it would be fucking AIDS.
Yeah, it is. I used to hate it way more. I think I got to a point where like some nights it's like good to just get it out the way and like then enjoy the rest of the night. So I don't mind it sometimes. Depends on the crowd. Like bigger crowd that you can tell is like my demographic. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'll go first, no problem. Yeah. Smaller crowds and like crowds that you don't think you're going to play well to, they're the hard ones because like you are going up. Oh, bro. We definitely talked about that on the. So we have talked about it because I talked about my biggest bomb ever. So
you did. Yeah.
So there's some where you don't want to open, but sometimes, I mean, I used to be like petrified of it because I hadn't done it for forever, like until like 2019 or something. I'd just never been put on first. Yeah. So I'd like just didn't, and then I'm glad I got put on a few times and got used to that. And now, it doesn't really bother me too much. Hosting is hard as well because you've got to like get, you got to come back all the time. So you can never really switch off.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just it's fun, man. It's good.
Fun.
Such a good experience. And, I just love running the night. So that should be awesome, bro.
Yeah,
like, and we're really trying to grow that so that it can be like a very consistent thing for us. And we want to, like, one of my big comedy goals I've got left is to go and do a show interstate. So because I like the boys asked the other day, like, you're interested in doing Fringe again? I'm like, not really. Like shows like this that have high reward for low risk with all the other shit that I've got going on, which we'll get into in a minute. It's just all I need. It allows me to have long sets and actually get to do it like a long act. It allows me to host. It allows me to have the fun of running a show. It allows me to have these really awesome nights and not have to pay or risk any money up front.
Yeah, that's it.
The idea of putting on a Fringe show, forking out so much money up front and then just stressing and clawing and hoping to make it successful just doesn't really interest me. Like,
especially interstate. Where you can't drag your mates.
No, exactly.
I mean, some of them might. Who knows? I feel like if you went and played in Brisbane, I'd come.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? Like, but like, if it was a consistent thing where you were like, all right, here I'm in Perth, now I'm in Melbourne, you're not going to have people fucking flying around everywhere.
No, and that's just so much for when you're just starting out and you haven't caught some weird viral fucking fame, and the podcast is not big enough yet for us for me to be able to ride the coattails of that or anything. And people, so it's like, it's just a lot of risk for sometimes very minimal reward.
Yeah.
And you got to be willing to do that grind. And I'm like, I'm just happy, growing this little organic road show where it puts money in all our pockets, more than we'll ever get from doing shows in fucking just Adelaide. And it's just so much fun. Like hanging out, like that group is so good as well that we just have like such a blast doing it. Yeah. And that's more important. Like when we drove out to Peary last year, that was more fun than the gig. Not that the gig wasn't fun. Yeah, it was just like that 2.5 hour drive.
Commute,
And then we got beers back, like more beers on the way home. So we're all just fucking, like, except for Clay who's driving, but the other three of us are just fucking blind, talking so much smack.
Yeah.
That's the fun of doing it. And I always heard those stories. And I remember I said, like, probably in the early days of the podcast, we were talking about what do you want to do with your comedy? And I said, I want to start doing these rural shows and whatever.
Fucking you did, didn't you? Like literally, like, even the first 3 or 4 episodes you were saying that.
So that's now kind of come to fruition. So my next goal is to obviously do some shows interstate.
Yeah.
But that can happen anytime.
Yeah, and the good thing about comedy is it's not like you need to be young.
Nah, dude, some of the best ever are fucking 50 plus.
Exactly. Like I was always a big fan of Stephen K. Amos, and I didn't see anything from him for such a long time.
Yeah.
And then recently, within the last couple of weeks, I went back on YouTube and tried to find his like new stand-up sets.
Yeah.
And I saw one from like a Just for Laughs or something like that from like a year ago or some amount of months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this dude's still hilarious. Like he's still fucking so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's exactly it, bro. Like it doesn't, some of them just like, some of them age out a bit and you're like, and they just kind of lose that flair. But a lot of them, bro, like they just get better and better. They hone that craft. I'm actually super excited because Tom Segura's latest special just hit Netflix last night.
Oh, no shit.
And so I'm like, I'm going to get out of here and wake Erica up if she's because I'm like, we were going to watch it last night, but mum stayed over.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting home from the potty tonight. We're watching this. He's one of my favorite stand-up comedians because he's just so dry.
You get around his podcast as well, don't you?
Yeah,
Is that Two Bears one?
Yeah, I like Two Bears. I don't mind the one with his wife either, but I like him even as a guest on other podcasts and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been smashing so many like podcasts lately as well, bro. What have you been listening to? Anything interesting?
Listen to a country song.
A country song?
Yeah.
I was going to say, no, I was saying podcast wise.
Oh, I thought you said listening and just in general.
No, we'll get into some songs soon.
You know what's interesting, man? Like, I just haven't really been into podcasts lately.
Really?
Just like, I mean, the occasional, I listened to the one with the JRE episode with...
RFK.
JFK.
Yeah, what'd you think of that? RFK.
Oh, RFK.
Robert F. Kennedy.
Robert,
JFK's dead.
That
would be weird if he was
like... whatever he is to
Joe
him.
Rogan's doing a fucking seance like...
Doing a hologram.
Who killed you? It says... Oh, see?
Yeah, man, he was saying some real shit. I mean, like, I know we wanted to get a little bit conspiratorial in this one... But he was saying some real shit, man.
All right, I'll tell you.
Because he's running for president, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, the most wild thing out of that whole episode, which blew my fucking mind because it makes a lot of sense. And I've never heard it talked about with vaccines before. And it actually like literally like made my jaw drop. And you remember when he was talking about, so what he was saying is, you've obviously got the two kinds of vaccines, right? So you've got live virus vaccines. Now, the reason why live virus vaccines were easy to get passed through all the legislation or whatever is because with a live virus, you can actually trigger a better immune response.
Yeah.
And the way that they test the efficacy of vaccines is by getting an immune response, right? So they show, yep, we inject this little bit of the thing, look at all the antibodies reacting to the bit of the virus in there, and cool, that's clearly working. So with dead virus or whatever the actual term is, and I'm fucking this up, go listen to the episode, but with dead virus vaccines or non-live virus vaccines, they don't trigger much of an immune response. So they're better because you're not injecting the live virus and you're just using it, but you're not showing the immune response that you want to be able to be like, this is really effective at actually fighting whatever the disease that we're trying to protect the person from. So what they did is start putting other additives and shit in the vaccines that trigger an immune response because of the shit that's in there. Not the virus, not the thing that they're trying to protect you from. So that's where the mercuries and the aluminiums and the other shit that he
was
mentions.
mentioning the specific mercury and then the other. So there was like mercury, one type of mercury and another type of mercury that he was mentioning.
Yeah.
And like, it was just nuts that they were even putting that in there in the first place.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And then the way they try to say it is like, oh, there's good mercury and bad mercury. And he's like, no, it's all fucking mercury.
Yeah.
But they were saying that, so then what they do is then it became this thing where they're like, we can just put fucking the most wild shit in here because we're able to get it passed on the basis of, here's the vaccine, here's the immune response. Oh, yeah, clearly antibodies are rushing to this thing, but it's because it's fighting what the fuck is this shit you're putting in me. And that was correlated with the whole you can't sue the vaccine companies. So not only were they doing this to get vaccines passed, they knew they had no repercussions from putting that shit in there because there was no chance they were ever going to get sued because they'd already put in that fucking legislation that they couldn't.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden there's this fucking race of all these vaccine companies to try and make as many fucking vaccines as possible so they can get into the money fucking wheel of it.
That's it, bro. Yeah, it didn't become about healing people for the longest time. It's been about scientists. And he even mentioned this about scientists being paid X amount of money to say that you get X response so they can push it to the government who will then push it to the people.
Yeah. And like the way he's talking about all what the Hep B vaccine that was initially designed for, and how they just then repurpose it because it wasn't selling under the original fucking guise of like it being for, promiscuous fucking people, and they were like, well, no one's going to fucking go and get this vaccination. So then they're just like, oh, well, we'll just give it to fucking kids and then just put it down as like, safe for kids. And like we've always said, right, is that the reason why this used to cause so much like anxiety to talk about because people never wanted to hear it because obviously kids and everything were involved. But like we watched what they did with opioids. Like we literally, and this is what we talked about so long ago about how like they literally packaged and got approval from the FDA to package oxycodone as non-addictive and then give it to millions of Americans like Panadol and then literally cripple so many people. Yeah. Why the fuck would they not be putting shit in the fucking vaccines to trigger an immune response to get them approved? And that's probably the most concrete evidence of what I've never heard someone explain the reason for all the additives until that moment. Because I'd always kind of wondered how did this shit get in there? I always just preservatives was a reason. Yeah. But this is a way more logical and an explanatory reason of like, no, it was to trigger the immune response to get the approval to package it and go, and this is the thing.
We knew it was never really about saving people.
Oh, no, not at all.
What I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing. He even talks about like how like, the access to like hygiene and all of that shit did way more to stop the diseases that were like they reckon the vaccines save than what the fucking vaccines have. So yeah, man, I think that's a really interesting candidate. And I think we talked about this on one of the last episodes that we did, but we talked about this shift in the way that the flow of information. Now, the fact that Joe Rogan can have him on and not get shut down is a fucking massive piece of the puzzle when it comes to whenever the next election comes around.
I feel like, yes. Remember when we first started and we were like giving our takes on what we thought was going to happen with the election, what we thought was going on in the conspiracy realm, what we thought was just all our takes, right? And we were getting striked on YouTube. And Joe Rogan was getting fucking demonized, and anybody else, you know. I remember when like X22 and all these other podcasts got kicked off of YouTube like completely. And ran over into Rumble and stuff like that. Isn't it interesting how from 2020 to now, you know, mid 2023, so 3.5 years, let's say, how alternate media has shaped and changed the way that people in general are like digesting information? Because I feel like COVID had that impact where people went, this wasn't what we thought it was.
Yeah.
We've been lied to. Just general people have gone, we've been lied to about the virus. We've probably been lied to about the vaccine. Let's go check out other opinions. And just the fact that people are able to check out other opinions now in one place.
Yep.
Whereas before it was like, oh, even though it was on YouTube, you'd have people here, people there, now it's like
so scattered.
It's so
whereas
scattered.
Now it's become a lot more centralized. You got Truth Social.
Yep.
You've got Rumble, which is a great place. You got Twitter owned by Elon Musk, and then you've got Joe Rogan as probably the most listened to platform in the world.
Yeah.
And it's just more and more people. Literally had Ice Cube. Joe had Ice Cube on this week, and he was talking about how he lost a $9 million movie deal because he said, "No, I'm not getting the fucking vaccine."
Yeah.
And then the media went and released that information, being like, "Oh, look at fucking Ice Cube, rah rah," which is like generally you're not allowed to fucking just publish people's medical fucking
not at all.
Not records, but you know what I mean, information.
Yeah.
Because of like Hippocratic laws and shit.
Yep.
And so this shit's just going to keep coming, man. Like there's just the wheel of like people being like, "Nah, we're not doing this shit anymore," is going to keep coming out. And I'm really interested to see what happens with someone like RFK, who like has just been, the effort to censor him has been so relentless. And now, everyone's talking about that podcast, and you've still got Russell Brand, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast, who's still, having the same conversations. I watched his stand-up. I had to buy it because I couldn't find it to download. He did a 3-day replay thing on Moment.
Yeah, okay.
Called Plandemic. No, Brandemic, sorry. And fuck, it was funny, man.
Yeah.
But just such good observations about the absolute hypocrisy and ridiculousness of everything that went on in 2020. And so, there's these big voices that aren't being shut down now that are actually like talking logical, critical thinking pathways about all of this shit. So I just don't, I don't think we're ever going to find ourselves in a situation like we did again in 2020. Nah, I just don't think that. Nah. Because, and this is what they talked about as well, is that nearly everyone knows someone who was injured by that vaccine. Everyone knows someone who lost their job.
Yep.
And the lawsuits that are still going to be coming for the companies that enforce that fucking is going to be probably the most insane thing we've ever seen in our lifetime.
Yeah. And we haven't even seen the long-term impacts of these vaccines yet.
No, that's right.
So, but like at the same time, we've said this from the start. We understand that people were forced to get it and they caved.
Yeah.
We've said this the whole time, as much as we were like, yeah, no, we don't want to get the vaccine. We think it's bad. Well, we know it's bad. Yeah. Right. I completely understand when people now go to me, look, I really wish I didn't get those vaccines, because
and this is
they didn't work.
Down on them or anything either.
No, not knocking them down. Not at all, because they were like, well, they didn't work. I still got COVID. I still felt sick. I still was ill, right? And then there's people dying left, right, and center, and we still haven't seen what could be happening in the next 10 years with them. So it's hard, man. It's real hard.
I do and I constantly find myself, though, as I see more stuff, and I'm just like, I feel blessed that I was able to not have to. That's what it is. It's not like I'm just like, I'm so blessed that I was able to avoid because if I'd gotten to the point where I did have to weigh up my job or getting it, I would have caved. And I've said this 100%. On the podcast a million times. Yeah. Because I had a family and everything else that I had to pay. And I'm just so lucky that I got made redundant before they were about to force me. Yeah. And then I've gotten a job where I've been permanently from home ever since. And now it's not even a fucking thing. Yeah. Look, I went to Sydney, just got on a fucking plane. Yeah. Well, that was not going to fucking happen 2 years ago.
No. You couldn't even drive across the border 2 years ago.
The question. There's not even the button when you're checking or anything. Like there would have been. Yeah. And I'm just like, it's just wild to me that that's not even a fucking thing now.
You know what's interesting? Back when COVID kind of first started, and then the vaccine stuff kind of happened there at the end of 2021, start of 2022. There, my grandma's nursing home. If you didn't have your vaccine or both of the doses, you weren't allowed in.
Yeah.
Right. And then they were like, you need to have both of the initial doses and a booster to come in. And then when you had a test when you come in. So you always had to do the test, but they were like, you need 2 doses and a booster to come in. And then I think they even ended up going, you need 2 boosters, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my mum just called me and went, you can come in now. And I was like, okay. So I couldn't see her for like 6+ months more, maybe even 7 months, because I didn't get the vaccine. And now it's just, no, you can come in, just test to see if you're all right, It's strange, bro.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Hey, did you see that bodybuilder who died this week as well?
No? Who was that?
There was a big thing about him because he was it was on a podcast talking about how he had 4 shots and then died of an aneurysm. Bodybuilder.
Shit, well, yeah. See, I mean, that's the thing, man. People are still getting these blood clots and stuff, aren't they? When it comes to
bodybuilder Joe Linder dies at 30, cause of death explained. But yeah, there was heaps of stuff about him going on the podcast, on this podcast, being like, "Yeah, man, I got guilted into having it. Now I've had 4 shots." And he just dies of an aneurysm, and the dude was fucking jacked. But yeah, like that. There's apparently a really good documentary that they were talking about on that RFK called like Died Suddenly or something. It was called like basically where and all it did is go through, like show you in a collage every single fucking athlete or whatever that suddenly died on the field.
Yeah, right.
On the play. And and he goes into that in that episode being like, in from this year to this year or whatever, on an average of every year since like 1988 or something, I can't remember, this is how many people have died while playing sports. And then from 2020 to now, the number was fucking astronomical.
Shit, that's crazy.
And it's just like, again, the families of these people, man, they're going to be fucking looking for answers when they've had their loved ones, their sons, their brothers, their dads, their uncles, whatever, just taken away from them suddenly because of these fucking, not even laws that were imposed. It was just these organizations that were putting fucking mandates in place, trying to strip people's fucking, free choice around their body. Someone's going to fucking pay for that eventually, dude.
Bro, that's the thing. Even though they're like, oh, we can't get sued, eventually there's going to be something that pops up, man. Surely.
Yeah, bro. It'll be, and it will just be those things. It'll be something where, again, people will just fucking demand it until it fucking happens. Until they get held accountable.
Well, you know what else has been popping off over the last month or so? Maybe even month and a half?
What's that?
The UFO community.
Yeah, bro. How did we not even think about that? We were like wondering what we were going to talk about, and we said, let's just fucking wing it, which we knew we would always crush.
Yeah, of course.
The UFO shit, dude.
Bro, that guy that came out, the David.
The ex-fucking...
Yeah, was it Grush?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. That was nutty. Hey, I mean, like, people that have been into ufology and all this kind of stuff like we have, there's been 1,000,001 whistleblowers over the years that have said
we haven't done an episode like there's the weather balloon thing.
We did do the weather balloon.
We did talk the weather balloon one?
We did do the weather balloon because at the same time, that was when something got shot down over Canada.
Oh, because we did one about all the fucking oil spills and everything.
Yeah.
That can't have been 6 months ago then.
I don't know when that was.
We didn't put it on YouTube. We didn't put it on.
We didn't put it on there.
No, we did put it on Spotify though, didn't we?
Yeah, we would have put it on Spotify, yeah.
Maybe it got fucking...
But we...
it was, sorry. So it was 9th of March, the COVID-dication one that we did. Right, okay.
9th of March this year?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that was the last one.
That was the last one,
last solo one. That makes sense.
Yep. But yeah, so this guy's now come out and gone, hey, I can't show you proof. I guess it would be very hard because he wouldn't have his hands on files of photos and videos of these alien crafts and stuff like that. But he's gone, I'm telling you, from someone who's been in the industry, that there is intelligent life and there is intelligent, ships and stuff like that and craft that aren't from Earth, is basically what he was saying.
Yeah, I know. How wild is that?
On like a mainstream media.
And there's been so many like observations that have been coming out recently, and like it's just weird. Again, then like our natural mind is like, what is that even a distraction from, that they would put that on mainstream? Yeah, man, it's just like, I mean, surely we get something about that more fucking concrete that comes out in the next couple of years. Because like there's been like as much as like that's like, but there's been a lot more of that kind of stuff in the last like 3 or 4 years than we've had in the 10, 15 years before.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So yeah, I mean, especially when you've got like Tom DeLonge and fucking, then Jeremy Corbell and everyone that's like constantly trying to fucking bring exposure to it. Like
Did Tom DeLonge, to the Stars stuff, did he ever get anywhere with that? Did
I don't know, but some people are like super into it. So he must have like done more than just like say he was going to do it. But I've never really looked into it. But I remember even Paigey was saying to me like, dude, you've got to like actually look at the shit that he's like come out with.
No shit, yeah.
So
Because I haven't seen anything, man. Like, and I would have thought that because I still listen to usually like when I'm going to bed at night, I'll pop on. I've really been liking Edge of Wonder podcast.
Okay,
well, it's more like not really a podcast, I guess. It's more like a show.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, they're really good. They used to be like massive on YouTube back in the day, and when that whole apocalypse of the alternate media kind of happened in 2019, maybe. Mm-hmm. Just before COVID, they got wiped, and then I like forgot about them because I was like, I used to have them subscribed, and then I kind of like, I forgot heaps of people. Obviously, some of them I can't even remember still, and then I found them again on Rumble, and I was like, these dudes are still kicking, and they make wicked content. They always talk about like all different stuff like paranormal, ghosts. Yeah, they talk about the Mandela effect.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
So they always get people sending in Mandela effect examples and stuff like that. So it's really cool. They talk about that, and they talk about aliens, and then obviously political stuff every now and then.
Yeah.
But they're really good because they have like actual content as well, like video content. It's not just like them talking the whole time.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That was a very long answer to what podcast have you been listening to
lately? I guess technically it is. Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. So Edge of Wonder, man, they're still kicking it. I'm like, like legends. Yeah, they're really good. Easy to listen to people as well. So,
but yeah, man, I'm super interested to see what happens in the next couple of years. Like I mean, we've said this fucking a million times, but I think the flow of information control being reeled back into more, actual free thinking voices being in control, the ratings of like CNN and all the mainstream news being in the garbage. Like,
does anybody still watch that?
I mean, like they talk about it all the time. Like I think CNN now gets like 3 million views an episode.
Okay.
Which is like you've got a population in America of like 300 million.
Yeah.
That's how low. And then you've got like
10%.
So I think like Joe Rogan can get like sometimes like 50 to 70 million.
Yeah, fuck.
Tucker Carlson used to get like 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, he was like 3x of CNN and then he gets fucking shut out because he starts fucking, questioning the war especially.
Yeah.
And did you see the thing that came out? So that, there's this whole, and then we'll talk about some other shit, but there's the whole Trump like took those classified documents or whatever home. Have you heard about the recent
I saw
thing
they raided his house about something. I didn't know that it eventuated into something though.
So the funny thing was, right, is that they were trying to like say that, as Trump's last ditch effort when he came out of office, he was going to strike Iran. Do you remember hearing that thing like right around the time he got out of office?
Iran.
Well, that was the rumor, and that what they tried to say, like, as his last-ditch effort, he was trying to push us into war with Iran. And so then he took documents home. This is what the whole thing's about.
Okay.
That proved that it was actually the military and the head of the military trying to push him into the to the fight with Iran. And he had all the documents to fucking argue it. And so then they found a voice recording, like someone recorded, or they found a voice recording of him talking about that. And the whole thing all over the news is about, he had classified documents, not the fact that the documents were to prove that he was trying to avoid the fucking war. No, I don't give a shit about that. That doesn't matter. That like he was telling the truth about, and like, again, that really lines up with how much he was trying to fucking prevent war the entire time and wouldn't budge to all of their fucking wanting to do it.
Well, they've always been on his dick about something.
Yeah,
really, about tax returns for a while there.
And now look, now we're in some proxy war with fucking Ukraine. Not we, but America.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of are.
Yeah.
But because we're a fucking ally of them dickheads. But like, we're in this fucking proxy war where like BlackRock and all of these. Oh, there's another thing. Did you see the BlackRock Project Veritas?
No. Oh wait, so Project Veritas?
Yeah, his OMG. Oh yeah. So if anyone has
OMG.
heard us talk about
Okay.
fucking Project Veritas,
Yeah.
I think we talked about the coup they staged against him. Well, he's got his new O'Keefe Media Group, OMG.
Yeah.
And they caught a BlackRock employee being like, "Yeah, we just buy politicians."
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, like it's not about who the president is, it's about who owns the president's wallet. That's what this dude actually says.
No shit.
And so
that's
then,
BlackRock
and
as
it was
well.
another fucking freak out video where they went and
Really?
showed him the footage, and he walks to the police station, and like James O'Keefe's like, normally they walk away from the police
Yeah,
station,
yeah.
not into the police station.
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah, that's a good one to go and watch.
Yeah,
bro. So,
okay,
I mean,
yeah,
he's
no
still
shit.
out there doing work under another name. So like,
Yeah.
and that's wild hearing a BlackRock employee be
Yeah,
like, you know,
bro.
it's the flow of money is the thing that matters. Like rah rah, and it's just like, I mean, we know that, but
Yeah,
it's
of
again, it's
course.
when you hear people speaking so disgustingly, and he's like, war is good, like just saying all these really
Yeah.
fucked up, vile things. And you're like, man, we knew that was the case, but hearing someone, and then when he gets like confronted, he's like, I'm just a low level dude, like I don't
Yeah.
know anything. And it's like, well, you weren't talking to this
Yeah.
bitch like you
Are
didn't
you a
know
low
anything.
level? Yeah. So are Project Veritas like this company that still exists now? Are they doing anything or is that
Yeah,
gone?
and it's all the most pathetic like
Ah.
exposés of all time.
Okay.
And everyone's just in the comments like, you fucked over James, you dogs.
Really? So they're gone basically. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
no one's
I unfollowed him, and I was like, yeah, I don't need to
Yeah.
see this shit anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's wild, bro. And that's the thing. It's like the lengths that they will go to. Even RFK on that podcast was like, yeah, I know I got to take care. I know what's happened to my uncle and my fucking dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we'll see. I guess we're always going to circle back and have these conversations.
Yeah, we got to as it goes on.
All right, we've talked about podcast. Give me a little bit of a rundown. We haven't done a song of the week for so long.
We
so
haven't,
give us
bro.
a few. What are a few jams that you've been fucking just throw? I know one of yours straight away because you sent it to me.
Which one is that?
Full Tilt by
Yeah,
Johnny Booth,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Full
a
Tilt by
fucking
Johnny Booth.
tune.
Yeah, it's a slammer. Hey, it's gives me that kind of early emo 2008 spec
Yep.
vibes a little bit,
Yep.
but at the same time is just pure filth
Yeah.
and catchy. At
Yeah.
the same. It's
yeah, it's
hell
got a bit of
interesting.
everything.
Yeah, it's hell interesting. Yeah, if you haven't heard, I hadn't heard of Johnny Booth before, but like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give these.
It's a
guys
weird
sus.
name for that, like
Yeah,
for a
hey.
metal. It sounds like it would be something a little bit more silly.
Yeah.
That's a good one, bro. I've got. I want to actually give a shout out just because I think it's so fucking cool. The Falling in Reverse, but Ronnie Radke reimagining of
Yeah.
fucking
Papa Roach.
Papa Roach.
Last Resort.
Last Resort, yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, he just, I was so, obviously I'm a fucking Ronnie Dick rider from way back, but when he did the reimagining of The Drug in Me Is You from his first Falling in Reverse album,
Yeah.
loved it. I was like, what a cool concept. Then he did another one of his songs, I'm Not a Vampire thing, and it was still cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing this a cover. And then there's a really
Yeah.
cool video on YouTube of him showing the lead singer of Papa Roach when they were on the tour.
Oh no shit.
And he's like so nervous. He's like shaking. He's like, oh, I just like, I want you to like it kind of thing. And I was like, that's such a cool like music.
And how did Jacoby
Yeah,
react?
I loved it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I bet.
And his like Ronnie Radke's voice, bro, like
Oh,
undefeated for that kind of like melodic, powerful song.
Well, then you even today sent me the live
Alex
version
Terrible.
with Alex Terrible screaming the end of the breakdown of was it Watch the World Burn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, Alex Terrible is one of the most brutal
Yeah.
screamers.
But it was interesting because, Alex Terrible obviously like was doing the most of the screaming. But at the end there, Ronnie
came
joined
in with
in
a high
and
and it was fucking.
but even the low, he did lows as well.
Yeah.
And it stood up to Alex Terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that guy doesn't. He doesn't.
just an insane vocalist. But
Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
I really and I've got
Yeah.
another cool one that I just came up on my playlist the other day and I was
Yeah.
listening to. It's just one of those ones that like you're like, fuck man, I don't know when I added this. It's probably so long ago. And it was just like, fuck, this is a banger. And it's by a band called Valley of Snakes.
Okay. I haven't heard
Very
of these
small
guys.
band. That's why I was like, I'm going to give them their fucking flowers.
Yeah, cool.
The song has like, let me tell you how many fucking, it's not many. Valley
Well, I've got a small band here I want to shout out as well. So
Valley of Snakes. This song has 32,000 plays.
yeah, wow. Okay.
And it
Real
is
small.
The Hooks Within Her Flesh.
Okay.
Fucking banger, dude.
Yeah. What kind of style is it?
like kind of like metalcore-y, but like a little bit deathcore-y in terms of the highs. It's very like brutal highs.
Yeah.
But then the sound is like, you know, little deathcore-y, but mostly just metalcore-y, like groovy shit. And yeah, it was just a fucking banger, dude.
Yeah. Well, that needs to be sussed out.
Yep.
That needs to be sussed out. Small band that I've actually been getting around are called Red Keep.
Yeah.
Did you end up listening to?
Yep, they're good. Yep.
Yeah. So they dropped one. It was interesting because it popped up somewhere on my Spotify. And the song was called Hakai, which is like the Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, like word for destruction. It might be the Japanese word for the destruction, but like, you know, Hakai is a full thing, you know. So I was like, oh, interesting. They're referencing like Dragon Ball, you know.
Yep.
And then they dropped that one and then another one called Envy. And I was like, Jesus, these dudes are heavy as shit.
I like that
and
one
then they
too.
dropped one last Friday called Existential.
Yep.
And that one's amazing too. So I'm like, and then I had a look at the bio of them, and it said they're going to be releasing an album later on this year that was actually produced by one of the dudes in Fit for a King.
Oh wow, that'll be fucking
so
wild.
These songs are obviously produced by these songs are obviously part of that album. So that's the sound that it's going to be. So yeah, man, they're really good. They're really good.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Heaps heavy.
Yeah, that's all. I've went back and realised, I've not added much shit to my
me either though,
to my
dude.
playlist,
That's the thing.
bro. Like I have not.
My actual metal, like my metal playlist, I haven't added like heaps to. I mean, over the last maybe week or so, I've been listening to just so much different shit. I don't even know why, but like at the moment, I'm just listening to heaps of different shit.
Yep.
Like it's just,
I think I've just been listening to so much podcasts. Like I'm always like feel like I'm behind on podcasts that I add to my like watch later.
Yeah.
It's like when I get a chance or whatever, I'm just like heaps more listening to pods at the moment. So like, but I need to. It's time. Like I always get to that point where I'm like, it's time to inject some new music into the fucking playlist. So like I'll make a conscious effort to be like, when you got time, you're gonna go and fucking do your little Spotify crawls through new releases and shit.
But the thing is in September, I know that there's like a couple of albums that are coming out.
Yeah, bro.
They're gonna be fucking sick. Like Primitive Horizon bringing their new album out. Resolve. I don't know if you've heard of those dudes before. I probably would link to a few of their songs. They've got an album coming out. Polaris have an album coming out in September. I don't know why September is just a fucking month.
I know.
Like,
Which, by the way, very quickly, rest in peace, fucking Ryan Sue, dude. Like, what a... I was saying to you, I've said to both you and Rookie just about, like, how have we lost two of the most influential guitarists in the last fucking, 15 years of music in Tom Searle and now Ryan Sue, where, like, both of them are looked at as, like, two... like pioneers of like a certain sound. Tom Searle had that really like the catchy fucking like they're not repetitive is not the word, but just like because it's
well,
not
they're not repetitive, but they do
they
repeat.
were like like where like but it just slightly changes, but it makes it so groovy. You're just like so into it the whole time.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Sue, just like the technicality of his riffs.
Yeah.
Just a sound that was like so new for metalcore, where it was like not just like and just dirty variations of that. Like so much more like technical, but then also just like headbang. And he just did took it to another level.
And then it would flow into like a guitar solo. But it wasn't a guitar solo where he would step up into the spotlight, shred a solo, then go back again.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a feature. It felt like the solo was just like a part.
Yeah, of this ambient fucking
like a natural
beauty.
progression.
Yep.
And like that I always really liked. Like in their new one, Inhumane, which is off of the upcoming album, where like it's obviously a guitar solo section, but it doesn't feel like a section where spotlight goes on him and he shreds and he steps back.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's he's always been like that. You listen to what was one I was listening to today? Was it Crooked Path? I'm pretty sure he does something similar in that as well.
Yep. Even like I think Vagabond is the one that has a really good like solo in it as well. That's just like a part of the fucking sound. You don't even know that it's a fucking solo. Yeah, just such an incredible talent, bro.
Yeah.
And
I was actually upset about
someone.
that because like he's such a good dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just
just watching the outpouring of like support and love for him like really fucking got to me as well, man. Like it's just always a tragedy to lose someone so young and obviously so talented and just so I don't know if we'll end up getting their tour or what will happen, but this album's going to really be something special because it will be the last album ever where he's had the full influence.
Do you think that they'll continue making music as Polaris?
I don't know, man. I don't like, when you lose such a key piece, but look, I mean, it's one of those things where like how many unreleased songs do they have where he's, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what happened with Architects. If you look at the album after he passed away, there was so much of that was already kind of written or whatever.
It was like the 2 albums afterwards until we noticed that there was no more influence.
Just no more influence, yeah. So I wonder if it's like we've got to empty the catalog and then try and, you know, bring what we know about him and bring in, you know, guitarists that you know, grew up, like, you know, spent time with him. Because this is the cool thing about Australia, man, is that like we've got such a, you know, a tight knit group. And like, you know, how close they were with like Josh from North Lane and whatever. So like, I think it would be something where they would be able to get someone to help them write maybe a final album under Polaris with his influence if they decided we got one more after this. But you don't imagine it's ever going to be they're completely the same because there's just something in his creative way that just you can't replicate.
Yeah, I know Daniel writes most of the songs, the drummer. He like actually like writes most of the songs. But I don't know, like obviously Ryan would have had a massive part in like the riffs especially.
Correct.
Which in metal music is like the foundation of a song.
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing that, you know, like other than like the breakdown, but in terms of like the parts that stick out the most to me in any song, it's the fucking riffs, man. It's always been the riffs in everything. Like the breakdown is the big fucking payoff for how much the riffs have fucking just brought me into the song. Yeah. You know, think of like, again, talking about Architects, I think of that riff like progression from Naysayer being one of my favorite songs. And that just makes you want to fucking march into battle, bro. Just that. So, you know, I think about the Creatures of Habit, like the high pitch, like when it goes into the diddle and I'm just like, bro, the most uplifting fucking. So, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'm gonna really like my first full listen through this album. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go somewhere. Fucking, Last time I had a blocked ear. I was walking to work listening to it for the first time. And I enjoyed it, but I know I didn't get to enjoy it as like when you're hearing songs for the first time. So I think this time I'm just going to like, I don't know.
I think this time we have a release listening party. Even if we just get a whole bunch of people coming up here, crank it or up yours or whatever, we crank it and we actually sit down and we enjoy it, do it together.
How good would that be?
That'd be fun.
I've never done that. Yeah, so when it comes out and everyone has to like swear that they're not going to fucking listen to it like earlier in the day.
Yeah, just leave it the Friday night.
Yeah.
Come up to whoever's house.
Yeah.
We sit there, we put it on a decent speaker.
Yeah.
And we fucking have a few bevies and we listen to it.
Yeah, I think that is a fucking great idea.
Yeah.
Well, I've got my fucking killer like 2.1 fucking system that is connected to my TV that we've like listened to. So we can just all sit on that big lounge.
Yeah.
Have a couple of bevies and just like listen to it together.
Yeah.
Pause it in moments and just like talk and listen. Yeah, bro. That'll be sick. I've never done that before, and I reckon that would be the album to just like let's soak this in. Listen to it front to back twice.
Front to back, no shuffle. Has to be song 1 to song 12, front to back.
Yeah, then go have another couple of drinks and then come back and do it again. Because the second listen is always, it's weird how much the second listen can sometimes be more wild. Because like you're swept up in the moment of the first listen, and that you're just trying to like, and then
find
when you
your favorites and shit.
When you've heard it and you're like, I know what I'm in for. Now I'm going to really like drill down on the individual bits. Somehow that second listen is like can sometimes be more euphoric than the first. But I reckon that's a killer idea.
Well, I was theorizing to myself kind of what might have happened with Ryan, you know, whether I was thinking maybe it was some kind of like long-term illness.
Yeah,
because I was on a YouTube video of them performing somewhere and Ryan wasn't there.
Yep.
So it was all the rest of the band were there and Ryan's guitar parts were on a backing track. So Rick was still playing, but yeah. And then I was scrolling through the comments and someone was like, oh, where's Ryan? He's not here. And then Rick actually commented on it. So Rick from his personal account commented on this random dude's comment. It wasn't even on the Polaris channel. This is on a random channel.
Yep.
And he was like, yeah, Ryan has passport issues. So he can't get to, like sometimes can't get to places, right? And then I was going through, so when he passed away, was it like last week or whatever it was? I was going through like a Reddit and reading just bits and pieces and people saying, yeah, rest in peace and whatnot. And there was some guy that we commented, he was like, I look back at the death of me now in a different light because it very well could have been about Ryan slowly dying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, that's interesting. So I went back and I like looked at the lyrics for some of the songs, ones that I didn't really know as much, like Waves and stuff like that. And I could see how you could interpret it as that, but they just seemed a bit more like generic or like whole about something like feeling upset or something like that. More so than about someone being sick.
Yep.
You know how like Doomsday or whatever, like certain architect songs that are about him.
Really tell. Yeah.
Whereas, so like that theory, my theory could be possibly that he's been sick for a long time and it wasn't passport issues. He just couldn't get to these places overseas because he was sick or going through treatment or something like that. And then they wrote The Death of Me kind of loosely about that. And then it finally caught up to him. So, but I could be wrong, but that was just me theorizing. Do you know what I mean? But regardless, man, I have all the respect. I'd always will have the respect for him because he's just a legend.
Yeah, so. Bro. And that's the thing. Like, you know, I saw even bands like Periphery and stuff like post about him because he started his career like doing, you know, covers of their songs on YouTube. And I went back and watched a couple of them and I watched the guitar playthroughs for Polaris and I'm just like mesmerized by just the insane talent. So yeah, man, it's really sad. And I hope that we get to see the tour come through. But I'm excited, man, because we've got some good shows coming up though. Like we've got obviously that show is supposed to have August Burns Red. I hope that goes ahead because I really want to see August Burns Red.
Hopefully.
We got Invent Animate and that's coming up next month.
Invent Animate and no, wait. No, that's We Came as Romans, isn't it?
Yeah, and Invent Animate.
Yeah, is that next month?
That's next month.
Is that
August. Yep.
Oh shit! I thought that was October.
Oh, maybe it is October. What's the one in August that I'm thinking of then?
I know that
we've got like 3 fucking tickets or something we bought at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know that in a couple of weeks I'm going to go to Entertainment Centre and see Pierce the Veil, Beartooth, and Dayseeker.
Yep, that'll be sick.
That'll be a wicked show.
I swear I booked one for August. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, maybe
then we've got volumes in. Then we've now got volumes coming back,
volumes.
Which just unbelievably excited.
Who's supporting volumes? Oh no, it is. We Came as Romans is August 29th.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So that's We Came as Romans and Invent Animate. There must be something else in October.
Then Volumes is October.
Volumes is October.
Yeah, and they are.
When's that? I don't have it in my calendar.
They're supported by Gravemind and Uni/VS. However you say that.
Universe have been kicking around for a while.
Yeah, but Gravemind will be sick. But yeah, bro, I just like. I cannot fucking tell you.
Wait.
Oh, Void Division are doing line arts on the 19th of August. Didn't even know.
I can't even remember. I've bought so many tickets. You know what's weird? Since COVID, right? My gig ticket buying.
Bro, we got to get tickets for this like immediately.
Wow, what is it?
So Void Division tour.
Yeah.
Which is I think the week before that one. It's at Lion Arts.
Yeah. Like
Moth to Flames.
Oh, true.
Varials.
Oh yeah, I did see that actually because I remember I was talking to Lachlan about Varials because he likes Varials and I was like, man, they're coming. Are they not sold out?
No.
All right, well then we should go to that one then.
Yeah, bro.
Definitely.
That'll be wild. Void Division was so good at that Polaris show.
It's fucking so good, bro.
But yeah, like I just can't wait to see Volumes, man. Like I can't. There's some things that are just like so unbelievably high on like the bucket list of like, you know, before my time's done, I need this to fucking happen. Yeah. And I don't even know if there's anything necessarily higher for me than seeing Volumes. That's how wild it is. Like because they've just been such a core. I mean, look, I'll go back 5 years of my fucking Spotify. Erased is top 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
And the rest of their catalog is spread out amongst my top 100 every single year, bro.
Yeah.
Edge of the Earth is in the top 100 every single year. Wormholes is the name of this fucking podcast.
Yeah, name of the podcast. Yeah.
I can't.
There's so many, and like Bend is a special song to me as well.
Yeah. Can we just reach out to their agents and see if we can get them while they're here?
Yeah, we said this. I feel like maybe soon because I feel like we're about to hit episode 100.
Yeah.
We're about to hit 3 years. So this month will be at the end of this month. It's 3 years.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're almost. If they come on, I think that would be plateau peak fucking epicness.
That'd be wild.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, that's about it, bro.
Well, I think this is a good little chat.
I think this was a fucking perfect little chat.
We kind of went everywhere, didn't we?
Hey, that's what we do. That's what we do, baby, on the fucking Wormholes when it's us two. We get to tangent our fucking ass off. But I love you so much, brother. I'll never stop fucking loving doing these podcasts with you and talking all bunches of shit. And I love that we get to go to so many gigs and shit coming up at the end of this year and get to go and do that Volumes experience together. And if you're still here with us listening, we've had a bit of a break, but we appreciate you all as well. And we hope you're doing well.
And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel
Yep.
because we're only going to keep doing more wicked shit.
That's exactly right.
So
we're going to have a Hot Ones episode, Wormhole,
that'll be episode 90. That'll be episode 99.
We're going to do
and then
burn holes in 2
100,
episodes, and then we'll have
special,
we'll do something special.
Killer.
Beautiful.
All right.
All right, peace out, bro.